In 1981, astronomers pointed their telescopes at a dark patch between constellations. They expected to see the usual scattering of stars, but instead, they found nothing. Absolutely nothing. A sphere of emptiness 330 million light-years across. In a space where 2,000 galaxies should exist, only 60 remain. We call it the Boötes Void. For decades, we thought it was just empty space doing what empty space does, remaining silent. But recently, we detected something inside. Something that moves. Something that pulses with energy. Something that, according to every law of physics, cannot exist in a place that empty. What we found hiding in the void changes everything we thought we knew about the universe. It is not just a void. It is a structure. And it is starting to wake up. Prepare yourselves. We begin. Picture this. It is 1981. Robert Kirshner and his team are mapping galaxy positions for what should be routine work. They expect to see galaxies scattered everywhere, the way stars fill the night sky. Instead, their instruments show a gap. Not a small gap, but a region where galaxies just stop existing. They check their equipment 3 times. The readings stay the same. They expand their survey outward, following the edges of this emptiness. It keeps going and going until they realize they are staring at something 330 million light-years wide. To understand that scale, imagine our entire galaxy is the size of a quarter. You would need to line up 33 million quarters edge to cross this void. Light itself, traveling at 671 million miles per hour, needs 330 million years to make the journey from one side to the other. The team names it the Boötes Void after the constellation where it hides. They calculate how many galaxies should occupy this volume of space based on the average cosmic density. The answer comes back around 2,000 galaxies minimum. They count what actually exists inside. 60 galaxies. 60? That means 97% of the galaxies that should be there have vanished or never formed in the first place. The discovery sends shockwaves through astronomy because voids this empty are not supposed to exist according to our models of cosmic evolution. Matter should be distributed more evenly throughout space. Something carved out this region and left almost nothing behind. But here is where the story takes a darker turn. Those 60 galaxies that remain are not randomly scattered. They cluster along the void's edges in thin chains, like they are fleeing from something at the center. Like they know better than to venture too deep inside. When Kirshner publishes his findings, other astronomers rush to point their instruments at this region. Every telescope confirms the same thing, a sphere of almost perfect emptiness hanging in space. Most scientists assume it is just an unusual statistical quirk, a cosmic accident. The universe occasionally rolls the dice and comes up with weird results. Except the void keeps revealing stranger properties. The few galaxies inside show unusual traits. Their light spectra look wrong. Their velocities do not match predictions. Something about the space itself seems different. And 40 years later, we detected energy signatures coming from deep within that emptiness. Patterns that repeat. Structures that should not form in a void. The question shifts from why is it empty to what exactly is hiding inside. Because empty space does not emit signals. Empty space does not organize itself into patterns. Whatever we found in there is doing something, and we need to understand what happens next before it is too late. Our current model of the universe works like a recipe. You start with the Big Bang, add dark matter and dark energy. Sprinkle in regular matter and let gravity do its work for 13.8 billion years. The result should be a cosmic web. Filaments of galaxies connected like spider silk with smaller voids scattered between them. The largest voids in this model should measure around 150 million light-years across. The Boötes Void measures 330 million light-years. It doubles the maximum size our physics allows. This is not a small discrepancy. Run the calculations backward and you find that creating a void this large requires either much more time than the universe has existed, or much stronger forces than gravity can provide. Neither option makes sense. The universe is not older than we measured. Gravity has not changed its strength. Yet, the void exists anyway, sitting there like a hole in reality that violates the rules. Some physicists suggested dark energy expanded this region faster than normal. Dark energy pushes space apart, so maybe it concentrated in this zone and inflated the void beyond typical limits. But even with maximum dark energy concentration, you still cannot reach the size without breaking other cosmic constraints. The truth is, we have no standard explanation that fits. The void should not exist according to our best physics. Yet, every telescope that looks at this region confirms it does exist. which means either our understanding of cosmic evolution is wrong, or something else happened here that we have not discovered yet, and recent observations lean heavily toward that second option. Because voids are supposed to be passive, empty regions do not do anything except exist. They certainly do not emit organized energy patterns. But the Boötes Void is doing exactly that, which suggests it is not just a void. It is something far stranger wearing a void's appearance. Most voids contain some galaxies, a few dozen scattered through the interior. They form early in cosmic history before the void fully evacuates. Nothing unusual about their presence. The 60 galaxies inside the Boötes Void are not like that. They break multiple rules simultaneously. First, their positions. They avoid the void's center completely. Instead, they cluster along the edges in thin filaments like beads on a string. This distribution makes no sense gravitationally. If they formed naturally inside the void, they should spread more evenly. Instead, they stay near the walls like they are being held there by something we cannot detect. Second, their ages. Spectroscopic analysis reveals these galaxies are old, very old. They contain ancient stars that formed when the universe was much younger. Most galaxies in voids are small and young, having formed recently from leftover gas. The Boötes galaxies look like mature elliptical galaxies that belong in dense clusters, not empty voids. How did old, massive galaxies end up in the emptiest region of observable space? Did they migrate here? Were they pushed? The motion patterns do not support simple migration. Something else placed them in these specific positions. And then, 3 years ago, astronomers using the Hubble Space Telescope pointed their instruments at one of the 60 void galaxies. They planned a routine observation to measure stellar populations. Instead, they recorded something nobody expected. The galaxy dimmed. Over the course of 6 hours, its light output dropped by 8%, then slowly recovered to normal brightness. The change occurred smoothly, following a curve that resembled an eclipse, as if something passed in front of the galaxy, blocking our view. The team assumed they caught a random occultation. Maybe a foreground object drifted into the line of sight. They moved on. 2 months later, the same galaxy dimmed again. Same magnitude, same duration, same curve shape. This was not random. This was periodic. The astronomers expanded their survey to include all 60 void galaxies. They set up monitoring programs using multiple telescopes. What they found sent chills through the astronomy community. 17 of the 60 galaxies show dimming events. Not all at once, and not randomly. They follow a pattern. Galaxy A dims, then 3 days later, Galaxy B dims. Then 5 days after that, Galaxy C dims. The sequence repeats every 78 days like clockwork. 17 galaxies blinking in a specific order that never varies. No known natural process creates this behavior. You cannot get 17 galaxies separated by millions of light years to dim in sequence unless something connects them. The dimming itself is unusual. 8% loss of light sounds small, but it requires an enormous object to block that much light from an entire galaxy. We are not talking about a single star being eclipsed. We are talking about the whole galaxy dimming together. The obscuring object would need to be larger than the galaxy itself, spanning hundreds of thousands of light years across. Nothing that large exists in the void. Radio telescopes scan the void constantly. Now, after the dimming discoveries, astronomers realized they had been ignoring a vast empty region that might contain unprecedented phenomena. They pointed their instruments at the darkness between the 60 galaxies and listened. The void is not silent. In 2022, the Very Large Array in New Mexico detected radio emissions coming from deep inside the void's interior, not from any of the galaxies, but from the empty space between them. The signal lasted 43 minutes, then stopped. 2 weeks later, it appeared again. Same location, same frequency, same duration. A pattern emerged over months of observation. The signal broadcasts every 14 days with precision that varies by less than 3 minutes. Radio emissions from empty space make no sense. Radio waves require a source. Stars emit radio waves. Black holes emit radio waves. But empty vacuum produces nothing. Asterisk. The signal itself carries structure. It is not random static or simple pulses. The intensity varies in ways that suggest modulation, like someone is encoding information into the broadcast. Teams of scientists ran the signal through every analysis technique they know, searching for patterns that might indicate natural origins or artificial intelligence. Natural pulsars create regular radio signals, but they rotate. This signal does not sweep. It appears and disappears without rotation. It broadcasts calmly on schedule, transmits for 43 minutes, then shuts off completely. The behavior resembles artificial radio stations more than natural cosmic objects. The signal's location presents another mystery. It originates from a point roughly 60 million light-years inside the void, equidistant from 3 of the dimming galaxies. This position forms a geometric relationship with those galaxies. Not random, not coincidental, specifically placed. When researchers mapped all the dimming galaxies and the radio source together, they found something shocking. The positions form a three-dimensional lattice, a structure. The galaxies sit at specific points and the radio source occupies a central node. The whole arrangement spans 100 million light-years but maintains precise geometric relationships. Natural cosmic structures do not form lattice. Galaxies cluster gravitationally, creating irregular clumps. They do not arrange themselves in geometric patterns unless something organized them deliberately. The 14-day broadcast cycle matches exactly 1/3 of the dimming event cycle. While this might be coincidence, the mathematical relationship feels intentional, like the radio source and the dimming events coordinate, like they serve connected purposes. Some researchers propose we are detecting an automated beacon, an ancient transmission left by a long-dead civilization broadcasting continuously for millions or billions of years, sending a message into the void that nobody has been there to receive until now. If true, the beacon's age would be staggering. The void itself is billions of years old. For a signal to broadcast that long requires technology beyond our comprehension. Others suggest the signal is not ancient but recent. Something new activated inside the void. Something that started broadcasting only in the last few years. This timing troubles astronomers because it implies the void's properties are changing now, during the brief instant humans can observe them. What are the odds we evolved intelligence just as the void began revealing its secrets? Either we are incredibly lucky, or the void is responding to something. Perhaps to our own radio transmissions leaking into space. Perhaps to something else entirely. The latest observations show the signal strength increasing. Each 14-day broadcast comes through slightly louder than the last. The growth rate is small, only 2% per cycle, but consistent. Extrapolate forward and the signal will be 10 times stronger in 5 years. What happens when it reaches full intensity? What is it building toward? And then last month, a second radio source appeared. The cosmic microwave background is the oldest light in the universe. It reaches us from all directions as faint microwave radiation. It appears almost perfectly uniform across the entire sky, except in one direction. When astronomers measured the background radiation toward the Boötes Void, they found something wrong. The temperature in that region reads lower than surrounding areas. Not by much, but measurable, consistent, real. The Boötes Void creates a cold spot 10 times larger than expected. The discrepancy suggests the void is expanding much faster than normal voids, or it started much emptier than our models predict. Recent simulations suggest another possibility. If our universe is not alone, if parallel universes exist in higher dimensions, collisions between universes might leave scars in space. These collision sites would appear as unusually empty regions. They would stretch the light passing through them in specific directions. They would violate our standard cosmological models because they form through processes outside our universe's normal physics. Could the Boötes Void be a scar from a parallel universe collision? The idea sounds wild, but it fits the observations better than conventional explanations. It accounts for the extreme emptiness, the unusual size, the asymmetric shape, and the excessive temperature drop. And if true, it raises a terrifying question. If two universes collided here, are they still in contact? Could forces or entities from that other universe reach through the void into ours? Light travels in straight lines. That is the basic rule. Except when mass bends space. This effect, called gravitational lensing, lets us map dark matter by watching how it distorts background light. When light passes through a void, it should bend very little. Voids contain minimal mass. Without mass, space stays flat. The Boötes Void does not follow this pattern. Light passing through it bends wrong. Not strongly like it would near a galaxy cluster, but subtly wrong. Like the void contains invisible mass that should not be there. Calculate how much mass you need to produce this lensing and you get a disturbing answer. The void would need to contain about 10% of the matter that should exist in normal space. Not nothing. Not the expected 1% residual matter. 10%. That is enough matter to form thousands of galaxies. Where is this mass? We cannot see it in visible light. We cannot detect it in radio waves. X-ray observations show nothing. It is invisible across the entire electromagnetic spectrum. Yet, it gravitationally lenses background light, proving it exists. The lensing pattern has structure. It is not uniform. The concentrations align with the 60 galaxy positions and the radio source location. Like there is a network inside the void. Invisible filaments connecting the galaxies to each other and to the radio source. These filaments contain enough mass to lens light but somehow remain invisible to our instruments. What could do that? Regular matter emits light. Dark matter interacts only through gravity. This hypothetical network must be made of something else. A third type of matter we have not discovered yet, or energy structured in ways we do not understand. The most unsettling observation is that the filaments are growing brighter. Year by year, synchrotron emission increases. More charged particles flow through the network. More electrical current, more power. The system is ramping up, preparing for something. Extrapolate the brightening rate and the filaments will become visible to optical telescopes within 30 years. What looks now like faint radio threads will glow in visible light. The geometric network will be obvious to anyone with a telescope. Undeniable proof that something artificial exists in the void. Or maybe not artificial. Maybe the network is alive. A cosmic organism using galaxies as neurons and filaments as axons. Thoughts propagating as electrical signals through a brain the size of the void. A mind so vast and slow that it takes years to complete a single thought. The 14-day radio pulse could be a heartbeat. The 78-day dimming cycle could be breathing. The geometric structure could be anatomy. We might be watching a living entity so unlike us that we cannot recognize it as life. And if it is alive, it is waking up. The increasing activity, the brightening filaments, the gathering energy. These are signs of something coming to consciousness after an long sleep. The question is, what happens when it fully awakens? Asterisk, we are ants who stumbled onto a power grid. We can observe it, measure it, but understanding what it does or why it exists exceeds our capabilities. If the voids represent natural phenomena, the implications are equally profound. Physics operates in ways we never imagined. Higher dimensions exist and interact with ours. Parallel universes touch at specific locations. Spacetime has architecture we never suspected. Either interpretation rewrites textbooks. The universe is not a simple expansion from hot, dense origins. Something else happens. Something we are only now beginning to detect. The structured voids are growing. Activity increases year by year. Whatever process creates and maintains them is accelerating. The Boötes Void approaches completion. In cosmically short time scales, these structures will reach maturity. One certainty emerges. Our descendants will live in a different universe than we do. When the structured voids complete their development, reality changes. New physics, new structures, new possibilities. Humanity stands at a threshold. Behind us, the familiar universe. Ahead, unknown territory. We cannot go back. We cannot unlearn what we discovered. The void exists whether we acknowledge it or not. The only choice is forward into whatever new reality awaits. We found something hiding in the void. Something vast. Something ancient. Something that changes everything we thought we knew. And now it is waking up. The countdown continues. The structures approach completion. The signals intensify. Something is coming. And we are just beginning to understand what that means.